This is a Polar Star podcast. My name is Lee Nason, and thank you for hitting play on my show today. This is the Polar Star podcast, where I have conversations with artists, entertainers, and business owners that call Maine home. My guest this week is James Redpath. I met James when he was leading a student film crew. How he led the multicam crew, showing students how to operate and carry themselves on a work site, really impressed me. I wanted to show him what I have going on here, and I thought the best way to do that would be to sit down and have a conversation. What could have been an awkward get-to-know-you turned into a great conversation about our American dream. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this show, please tell a friend, subscribe where you listen, and visit polarstarpodcast.com for all the news coming out of the Polar Star studio. Big news this week is that we dropped A Better Tomorrow with Tim Duffy. It's going to come out every other Tuesday, starting this Tuesday, April 27th. His first guest, he sat down with Dave Aceto, an owner of Arcadia National Bar. Dave and Tim talked about how small business owners like him can use their platform to push for equity in our community. If you have the time, please tune in and let us know what you think. With no further delay, here's my conversation with James Redpath.
Check the levels on my ting ting pop. Oh, it sounds good in the headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Clear.
This is my first time sitting down with these.
Sweet.
And I've been every time I edit, I wish I had a little bit more gain. So I'm trying to play with these to gain this up a little bit.
Yeah, that's so important in podcasts.
Yeah.
Like the voice isn't clear. Like, what do you have?
So is it James or Jim?
It starts off as James. It's James like when I write it down, but Jim. Yeah, just call me Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start off as James. James Redpath.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
me. Yeah.
All right. We met through working together because you go to SMCC.
Yeah.
All right. And you do they call the position studio ops over there?
So technically for employment, I'm a lab technician.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of what it is on paper. I work in the work study office for the communications and new media department.
Okay.
I manage all the gear we have. We actually have a lot of nice cameras, Canons, Sonys, a lot of audio equipment.
Yeah.
Shure, Zoom.
So we met. We were working a show for MAM together, Maine Academy of Modern Music.
Yeah.
You headed up a film crew.
Yeah.
To film their recital, basically.
Yeah. So I was kind of the video producer for that the first time around. Just kind of wrangled the kids together. I got them like up there and shooting, as cam ops.
Yeah.
Then we edited it.
Yeah. And it's a full team of students there.
Yeah.
And you're also a student. Are you coming in on the end of school?
Yeah, I kind of like being a student. Actually, man, it's not too bad. So I'm not in any rush.
All right.
I get paid to go to school right now.
Really?
I get paid from the school. I get, all kinds of student refund stuff, and all my classes are paid for.
Oh, really?
Yes.
See,
I'm going to take every friggin'
I paid a lot of money for school, or I was supposed to pay a lot of money for school. I'm currently avoiding my loans, but
See, yeah, that's the thing. They're just like, I applied for the financial aid and I got it.
All right.
Yeah, I've got 2 kids. I have dependents. And
how old are your kids?
I've got a 14-year-old boy and a 7-year-old daughter.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you must be what? How old are you?
Oh, yeah.
Almost 40?
Yeah. Well, no, I am.
You're 40?
43.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. You
Don't
look like a young man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
You get that skater.
I was waiting for that.
You got the skater look going.
Yeah, I've been skating since like 1989.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Love it. Love skateboarding.
Yeah. I grew up, trying. I grew up. I'm only 33 myself, so I grew up with like Tony Hawk Pro Skater and Jackass, and like you know, when skating like really hit pop culture.
Yeah.
And so I was definitely, you know, on the bandwagon.
The X Games.
Yeah, dude.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah. DC was huge. I was always, I always liked the image of like the Spitfire stuff and the Alien Workshop stuff.
Yeah. Workshop was huge around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like early 2000s, maybe.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Workshop was hot for sure.
They were, And then
Jason Dill.
My first board was actually an Element.
Yeah.
And
Bam was on Element back then.
Yeah. And I didn't know, but I bought like a vert board. So it was so heavy.
Oh, really?
I couldn't
wide and
I couldn't do any.
Back then the street decks were so skinny.
Yes. Because there was a bunch
7.5
tiny little dudes
with huge shoes.
Yeah.
With the big tongues puffing out and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I love
big
that
baggy
shit.
jeans. Yeah. It was but the kids that were good at it were these scrawny little fucks, you know, that were able to jump around, you know, not bust up their knees.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was me. I was the scrawny little kid. But I had like all these friends that just loved skateboarding, but they weren't as scrawny. They were kind of the heavier dudes, and they would always just have their boards and kind of roll around and be there, and like they were skaters. But I know what you mean, man. Like it was the small, wiry ones that were actually pushing it and
got good,
doing
quick.
the trick, got better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Stuck with it.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in right outside of Boston in a town called Norton.
Okay.
Which is a lot of times I just say near Mansfield. It's in the southeastern. It's kind of near, you know, where Great Woods is.
That's where
the Tweeter Center.
Yeah.
It's like almost like on the way to Cape Cod.
Yes. Okay.
In between Boston and Providence, right on the border of like Rhode Island there.
Yeah. So actually, my family's on the South Shore now. I grew up on the North Shore. I grew up in Wilmington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally know that area. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I grew up in Wilmington.
Super close.
Yeah. Cool. Right there. Yeah. Moved there, you know, young, went to full like middle school, high school all in Wilmington. I went to the New England Institute of Art in Boston, which was MassCom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was MassCom, and then the Art Institutes bought it, put in like graphic design, animation, photography.
I was looking at that school when I actually went to college the first time around.
Okay.
I went to Massasoit, which you must know down there.
Yeah, I was just talking to actually my buddy Lutz, who his episode was just out this week. He went to Massasoit.
It was a cool school. I was in the graphic design kind of degree program there. And I wanted to go to like Mass Art or Mass Com even. Yeah.
I had some friends at Mass Art too. I lived in Alston for 10 years.
RISD, I wanted to go there. I moved to Vermont.
Really?
Yeah, to work at a ski mountain, be a snowboard bum.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that was way better.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Especially like when you're 20.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you're being told you have to have it figured out, but you don't want to. And so you go and live on a mountain for a few years.
With school at that point.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I'm back in it, I'm like,
I'm back in school.
I'm friggin'
never leaving.
Valedictorian, man. Yeah. But back then, I couldn't wait to just go see what else was going on.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
A lot of kids are like that.
Yeah. I graduated high school in 2007. Not to make you feel old, but I stayed back a couple times. I started my first semester of college a month after I graduated. So and then college took
Not
me.
even over the summer.
I got like early acceptance to the school, and so I just started in the summer semester and just kept it rolling. And it took me 5 years to graduate. So by the time I was done with school, man, I can't even believe I graduated. I was in a full like just fucking acid blur.
Yeah.
Crazy, you know. I don't know.
Actually, kind of went to Vermont to get away from like Massachusetts people, the kids around that college scene like to party for sure.
Yeah.
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 It was different. Like Vermont, like everybody smokes weed and stuff, but they're not like doing all crazy drugs all the time.
Yeah,
Like
and then
my
and
friends in
especially
mass were.
yeah, and especially like I was in school to I was in school, and so we were recording, and then the Berkeley's right there too, and there's all
Yeah.
these other schools, and everybody's partying together. You end up at a Harvard party, you end up at fucking this party, that party. We were all throwing our own parties. We were all in bands playing the parties. It was like it was a thing.
A lot of my friends from the town I grew up in ended up going to UMass.
Yep. Yeah.
Wild times there.
Yeah. Where out at Amherst?
Amherst and Dartmouth.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got both.
So so the party scene wasn't really your thing. You didn't.
It was for sure. It was. I loved partying.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but I wasn't into like drugs and stuff. And was going that way. It was ecstasy was like everybody wanted to get fucked up on. I like to drink and smoke, but like not just getting out of my head all the time.
Yeah. All right. But you liked to skate and you snowboarded and you liked to.
Yeah.
I
was getting a little disenchanted with skateboarding around that time. Actually,
were you? Why so?
Because kind of like what you mentioned, it was starting to. The X Games and Tony Hawk and all that stuff and the video games and
started to pop through.
Yeah, like I got into skating because it was the alternative thing, and I was not into being on the team.
Yeah,
I liked the individuality of it and the underground feel of it, and I used to get teased and shit so bad for wearing baggy pants and Big Brother shirt, like what Big Brother is, the magazine.
I know.
Oh yeah, you need to check that out. It's a really, really messed up skateboard magazine that like was produced by like Larry Flint.
It was punk then.
It was punk back then. Yeah, it was for sure.
Yeah.
Like we were in, there was like a whole genre like the skate rock back then. Bands like Bad Brains and Fugazi. Bands out of Boston like Slapshot, and there was a whole punk scene that just came right along with it.
Yeah.
But then, around the turn of the century, that all changed.
See, that's when I came to age. And I came to age when all that stuff hit pop, So I was trying to find that vibe.
Yeah.
I really was. I was looking for it. But what was offered to me was pop, was Blink-182 and Green Day and
Element skateboards at the mall and shit.
Getting Element skateboards at the mall.
Yeah.
Eastern Border, really. Eastern Border was where I went. Yeah.
That's totally legit. That shop's legit for sure.
Yeah. My neighbor actually skated for Eastern Border. He had we built little ramps in his driveway.
The exact one that you
in
used
Burlington.
To go to.
Yeah, across from the Burlington Mall.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a little that same neighbor. There was that skate park in Burlington that had mini ramps in it and it had little quarter pipes. He fucking fucked up his leg. He was skating for Eastern Border. At that park, he went up on the quarter and broke his leg in like 6 different places and was never able to get on a board again.
I've hurt myself so bad.
Really?
Skating, yeah. More than anything. I'm into bikes too a lot and mountain biking, but nothing kicks your ass more than skating.
Yeah.
And you're going like less than half the speed that you would on like a mountain bike, but you fall and you just break your bones.
You're
so
not
easy.
Holding it.
It's like hard
stability.
Concrete, and like what it is you're twisting. You're rolling your ankle, or like you're falling right on your leg. It's just so much like when I crash my bike, it's over the bars usually. I'm putting my hands out, and I don't know. I've just rolled my ankles so many times, and that.
Any bad injuries? Anything break?
Breaks, like fractures. I remember walking around for like a month with a fractured ankle.
Really?
My mom was like, "No, it's not. It's not." And then finally got an X-ray, and it was fractured, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they have to re-break it?
No. No. But I was on crutches.
All right.
For a while.
All right.
I have had to have that done to my arm.
The re-break? Yeah.
But I fell out of a tree when I was a kid playing ninjas. It's like,
all right. So, fast forward. So you go to Vermont.
Yeah.
And
I worked at Mount Snow.
Okay.
And actually I was an intern for the X Games there 2 years in a row.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into media?
kind of starting with that.
Okay.
I was just kind of around like live events. I was always into music. I used to go on like Phish tour and stuff and do the whole festival stuff. That was like huge back in that like, turn of the century.
Seems antithetical. It seems, it wasn't the skater thing to be into.
Kind of wasn't, but actually I brought my board, and there was a turn where like the Phish kids started rocking skateboard gear.
Really?
There was, totally. And they got all like danked out, and they were all hip, and they loved wearing the sneakers and shit and the baggy jeans. Like,
yeah,
their style, like in that age, like,
yeah,
right around
the heyday of Phish, really.
Yeah. Late 90s, like even a little earlier. There was a turn where the Phish kids started acting like skaters, because it wasn't like Grateful Dead, like the real Phish
kids. It's a very
kids,
New England thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole skater vibe is that whole kind of, it definitely, the people that I get along with now were in that scene.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
I got into the jam stuff later. I got into jam stuff into college. I was like in the punk.
Well, that's when I got into it. But like I was just
being in Vermont
before you. Well, I was getting into it because the scene in Boston was like, that's where it turned. Like the kind of punk stuff kind of wore off, and it kind of got into jam stuff for a little bit.
Wow.
So, I actually went to private high school.
Okay.
The prep school hippie kind of thing. And kind of got turned on to it there.
Yeah.
So I got into it like right around Providence, which had a pretty cool scene too. And I ended up going up to Vermont. I had a buddy that worked at the mountain, got me the gig. I was like, hell yeah, dude, I'm doing that.
And what were you? Must have been like 19?
So I turned 21 like October 1999. Okay. So like Y2K came, I was like just 21, like barely 21. So that was a big deal.
And you guys must have been partying your fucking asses off.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. Like
there was no you weren't carrying around cell phones.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There's no cameras.
Yeah.
It was just, and especially you're into that early Phish and skating. That's an angsty scene, man.
Could have gotten a lot of cool memories, if there was more access to that stuff. And I think about that all the time. Like the stuff that we used to do would have translated so well to pictures, and nobody had the cameras like they do now.
No.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to put a camera in my hand like my parents. No, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. I never got my hands on them.
So how did the camera finally get in your hand? Through
SMCC, dude.
Oh,
I really
All right. So let's.
I have a whole bunch of shit between then and now.
Yeah. All right. All right. So you get into the X Games stuff.
Yeah.
At Stowe.
At Mount Snow, which is south of Stowe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's near Brattleboro. It's really not that far up.
And what were you doing with them?
I was van operations.
Okay.
And then worked as an intern for ESPN.
Oh wow.
When I first.
So were they filming stuff there?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, big time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that was some of the first like Winter X Games. They
Wow.
had the summer ones. They had a few summer ones.
Yeah.
This is like, the third or fourth winter one.
See, when I was coming up, the winter stuff was all out in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know. They had it at Mount Snow of all places. It was like,
wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's
like, X Games at Mount Snow. That's
it's not great skiing. It's not great snowboarding.
Mount Snow is not. It's the closest mountain to New York, and that's really the only to New York City, and that's like.
Maybe that was the selling point.
That's really it.
Yeah.
I mean,
everybody flying into New York.
Well, yeah. So they wanted to, I can see why they would have the X Games there because of the draw from Boston and New York for sure. Like they would get a ton of people there, maybe even more so than
the crowd.
Some of the places out west where you have to travel a lot more.
Okay. That makes sense.
You even have Connecticut people that would come up to
X Games was a crowd event.
For sure.
Before it was film, it was all live. It was about performing
Getting
for the crowd.
People there. There was tons of people there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And crowd management was a huge part of it.
And you moved your way from intern into event management. with
Yeah,
with the mountain?
operations, event operations. Like I was still pretty young, and so there'd be like, they had a few clubs there, and so we'd, you know, set up the stage and do all that, the lights.
Oh, so you were it was like concerts.
I was basically, and then like races and like events during the day. I mostly worked at night.
Okay.
I'd snowboard all day and come in like for second shift and do all the night stuff. Mostly like putting stuff away by that point, but that's how I got into it.
Was it hotel stuff like in ballrooms?
Some of it for sure.
Some of it, yeah.
I never worked at the hotels, but like, we'd go into like some of those, they had like the Grand Summit Hotel, which was pretty new, and they would put on all kinds of events in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You must have, how long were you doing that? How long are you there?
I think I was there for about 5 years.
So you got your hands on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I think I like started like kind of not really working at the mountain right around the 5th season. I started blowing glass.
Oh, really?
So I did the whole glass blowing thing.
Okay.
And that, yeah.
I have a few friends that are glass blowers.
I picked that up from some of the people that came to the area.
So you were in the scene, man.
Dude, I was heavy into the scene. I've seen Phish like in Europe and stuff, like traveling around Europe.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
But honestly, like,
I'm not
I
can't afford to be a Phish fan now.
Not anymore, man.
Yeah.
Dude, back in the day, we used to get free tickets. Like I would never pay. Like
no.
I would never got shut out. Like it's crazy. Like
yeah.
I traveled all over the country, like came back with like.
So you did tours?
Yeah, I did a few full tours.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Like I said, Europe, been up into Canada, all over the country.
Wow.
Festival things too.
All right. Yeah. That's great. My first Phish show was an MSG run. Was a New Year's MSG run.
Oh man. What a wild. Yeah. You go there for like 3 or 4 days and it feels like you've been there for like weeks.
Yeah.
All the shit that happens.
We only stayed the 3rd day because we literally couldn't drive home. Like we didn't have the physical strength.
Yeah. Too gone.
And we were like, we slept in my car. I found what looked like to be an okay place to park. And we just curl up. It was me and my buddy Dylan. And we curl up and sleep in my Jeep Grand Cherokee. And wake up and we're right next to Statue of Liberty viewing park.
Nice. Have your morning constitutional next to the.
We slept for like 14 hours.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Woke
I'm
up
not
in
surprised.
like the evening.
I've done shit like that.
Yeah.
Me and my buddies ate some like ganja food. We used to call it ganja food back then.
Yeah.
They call them edibles now.
Yeah.
Like kind of towards the end of a concert, got it like actually
Calm
on
down.
our way out. Dude, we ate it and then just like we're sitting in the car, we fell asleep, dude. Wake up, everybody's gone, dude. We're the only van left in the parking lot. Show's over, everybody's gone. There's thousands of people there.
Yeah. See,
shit like that.
Last time I saw the Phish was actually here. Was actually at the a couple years ago, and they did the poster that was like have you seen them lately? They did.
I haven't seen them.
It was they played the arena.
Last
here.
time I saw them here, it was here, but before the Civic Center was redone.
Okay, yeah. So it was
ago.
It was there. It was like it was just a year or two I had been living here, so it was probably like 4 years ago, and I just maybe it was that arena or maybe it was like I don't know what it was, but I just remember thinking like I'd rather be seeing a Dead cover band right now.
The arena wasn't that great. And I saw Phish there like probably 10 years before that, and it sucked too.
Yeah.
Something about the Civic Center. It's a hockey house. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't sound good.
It's not great for a show.
I didn't think so.
Although, even though I did see Dead & Co. in Worcester at a very similar setup of arena, and I also didn't have a great time. I just don't think I like those arenas. It's never a good setup. But the best time I did see Phish was at the Man in Philly. I got to see them, and I had that.
Is that like a smaller club or
No, the man is it's
the Spectrum, the old Spectrum.
It's a shed. It's a
like
shed.
Hangar.
It's like a big wooden shed. It's almost like a similar setup to like a pavilion, where it's like half of it's like under, and then half of it's like a lawn, and it's got a pretty big lawn out back.
So amphitheater.
Yeah, amphitheater. The man is a pretty well known one. I think they call it a shed just because it's wood. But
cool.
But yeah, that was the show that they plucked me up and spun me around and reformed me in their image.
I've had a few of those. Yeah. They've blown my mind. You look at, I don't really act like a Phish head or anything.
No,
but
I would have never guessed.
Yeah. And I don't collect the tapes or whatever. I don't really listen to them that much. If I'm going to listen to jam band music, it's probably going to actually be the Dead.
Yeah.
Like if it's on satellite radio, the Dead channel.
Sure.
But yeah, going to the shows and then just like the traveling, and it's the best way to travel.
Yeah.
Going show to show, city to city with all these crazy people. And
a lot of my best friends
a lot of attention.
Do that.
Yeah.
A lot of my best friends and have made lives around it and either, vend glass and drive around and do it and or just go date to date. Like my good buddy, now he just got back from seeing the Disco Biscuits in Tennessee, and so a lot of my good friends, make tour stops a priority for sure.
I was living that life. I would, spend the downtime blowing glass, get a few cases going.
Yeah.
Take it with me.
Yes.
And it was like sketchy back then. Like
with glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Ashcroft, the U.S. attorney or what? No.
We talked about Operation Pipe Dreams.
Yes.
Yeah. And they
were coming after him.
Yeah.
After pipe makers, taxes and all that.
Yeah.
Shit.
I had, so episode 2 here, I had my friend Sable Hayes on, and she came up around the same time. She's a few years younger, but, she learned at that time how to blow glass, when they were cracking down.
Same, dude.
Yeah.
And there was not a lot out there. It was still a craft where people did not want to be very liberal with just sharing, their knowledge of how to do it.
Because it was sketchy.
It was like tattooing, because if everybody can blow glass, then you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not as valuable.
It's not magical like people think.
No.
It's a craft.
It's
you
a
have
trade.
To practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see these wild things after they're done and you just, how the hell did you do that? But if the cat's out of the bag, it's just not as great anymore.
It's physics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was like that, and there wasn't the resources like there are now. Anything you want to do these days, you just type it into YouTube.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing back then.
So did you apprentice for somebody?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, that took me around. Yeah. I ended up working for a shop in the town that Mount Snow is in, West Dover.
Okay.
And I did an internship there. It was kind of like, at a tattoo shop kind of thing.
Did he have a torch in the back kind of thing?
Yeah, they had a couple of few torches.
Okay.
And I got plenty of free bench time. I just would kind of run the counter, clean up and shit. And
now it was Vermont, so it was more lax, but not really. It was.
I feel like that's a misconception about.
Is it?
I don't think Vermont is as liberal as people think it is.
Well, I mean, they're kind of the last to come around.
That and there's just not as many police, I guess.
Okay.
But they're not just letting people do whatever they want.
All right.
I was always a little bit, and it was the times too. Like we said, John Ashcroft, and the hippies were being scrutinized, and weed was as bad as any other drug.
Well, the whole thing, and it was, it was
we were working in a shop that was still is this shop legal? We was still we didn't know.
That's kind of what I was getting to. Was it if people came in and kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge, ask you for the case, you had the thing that you could pick up from behind the counter.
Wasn't quite there, but it was not far from that.
Okay.
Yeah. It could have, we were just wondering, who's going to come in and, are we just going to get shut down? We're going to, get arrested? Who knows?
But you were
it was very uncertain.
You were willing to live that life, take that risk.
I didn't really have a lot of I wanted to learn how to do it. And I don't know, there wasn't much else going on in that town when the mountain wasn't going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was seriously nervous all the time. And I'm a lot more cool-headed, I think, than some of my friends that I was around. And
Yeah.
so they were just like not as like careful, So I was worried that they were going to get me in trouble, which has happened, dude. I've definitely gotten into trouble and shit because of people being stupid.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just not being discreet, I guess. We're blowing glass bongs in like this little ski town, and
Were there arrests? Were there busts?
No.
But
No.
it was always a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even when I grew up, it was a possibility. Even when we're talking about the same time where, like, I was in high school 02 to 07, and you said that you were about 21 around that time, and so we're talking about that same time,
like 02. It's 22.
So you're in Vermont. You're working for a head shop. You're learning how to blow glass.
Yeah.
You're blowing glass,
I ended up getting my own gear while I was still there.
And you're basically doing it all just to get back on tour in the summer.
That's what it was back then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what got you out of that life?
Okay. Well, what got me out of Vermont was so where we were in Brattleboro area, like we were like kind of above Brattleboro, but Brattleboro is kind of right above that western corridor of Massachusetts.
Okay, yeah.
That kind of goes down. I think that's Route 93. There's like Northampton, Amherst. That's where we used to go and hang out.
That's not 93. 93 is east,
no,
but it's
91.
Yeah, I know where you're talking about though.
It goes like from Vermont through Massachusetts into Connecticut.
Yes. Yep.
And we spent a lot of time going up and down that road because
Amherst was popping.
There was nothing going on where we were, so like we'd go down there. Amherst and Northampton had a lot of clubs.
Okay.
Northampton's like a little bit kind of like Portland.
I never really.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I was never really west of Worcester.
Yeah, it's a different vibe out Western Mass than the shore.
Yeah,
for sure. It's different. Yeah,
my joke is anything west of Worcester is the fucking Midwest. Basically, you might as well be in Ohio.
It's almost kind of like and then you start to get into those weird areas of like New York, like and Albany, and like there's some really crappy areas.
I had no business out there.
No,
no.
It's like the Appalachia of New England.
Yeah,
it goes along like the Berkshires and stuff, and there's all those like rundown towns.
Yep.
Springfield is just a dump.
Yeah. I dated a girl from out there. From she always said she was from Springfield, but she was from one of those border towns of Springfield.
So needless to say, I kind of couldn't wait to get out of there. So we were hanging out. It was actually like it was on Bob Marley's birthday because we went to some reggae show in Northampton.
Yeah.
And I ended up hanging out with this girl.
Yeah.
She came up to see me up in Vermont, and we're hanging out. There wasn't a lot of ladies around. The Vermontsters. It was what we used to call them. She was from Connecticut, but she was going to Mecca in the fall or whatever. I think like April is when I met her.
Wow.
But yeah, she was going to Mecca in the fall, and I already knew a lot of people around here.
Okay.
Just from tour, really. Actually, I met him from tour. That's how I knew. I'd already rocked it in Portland for a little bit. So I moved here with her.
Wow.
Yeah, like I had just kind of left that shop. I had all my own gear. I had my own shop there. It wasn't like a retail shop, but I was blowing glass myself. I was doing it on my own.
But so you left there with the skill and the know-how to open your own thing.
Yeah, and then I came to Portland, which was much more like hopping in like much better art scene, like way better fit for me, way better.
It's what I've heard. I've heard that
back in we're talking. I moved here in like 2002 or 3, late 2002, 2003.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So right around that time, at that time, I was in high school. I was a blue-haired little like ringleader punk shit into like playing my Blink-182 covers and
No Effects, or is that too?
Yeah. I went to all the Warped tours. Of all the way from 8th grade through senior year, all 6 years or all 5 years
at
there.
Greatwoods?
I was there.
We used to sneak into that place all the time.
Yeah, I went to the one at Great Woods in the parking lot. I think they did it 2 years there in the parking lot. The first one I went to was at Suffolk Downs. They did it in the middle of the racetrack and in the green in the middle of the racetrack at Suffolk Downs. That was the first one I went to. That must have been 2001, 2002 ish, either one. But Alkaline Trio was one of the headliners there. You know, it was like right. I wasn't into Simple Plan, but it was like right before Simple Plan. You know, that was one of those bands that
It's like the heyday of pop punk.
That's what I was in. That was my thing, was pop punk all the way. No Effects, Bad Religion, the whole ska thing. You know, I was really following like Epitaph Records.
Yeah. Rancid,
100%.
Up Ivy.
Yes.
Predating that, but like
the end
we
of
could
that.
talk about that for a long time.
But it was all informed by that SoCal scene.
Yeah.
That SoCal scene was like what, you know, I was reading about in AP magazine, you know, and following the record labels and playing the music and trying to write my music like that. And then weird enough, like Alkaline Trio kind of found its way in there. So like that Chicago thing too, a little bit, but you know, they were like the only band to come out of there really. But yeah, that's what I was doing around that time. So by that time you were tired. you were off tour and you come set up shop in Portland.
I came set up and I was businessman. I was glass blowing, working it.
I was just getting started.
Piles of, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I had they had to make the new 20s because I had all the old ones, man. Yeah.
I like that joke.
Just came here and just started stacking paper. Dude.
I like that joke.
Yeah, I did. And back then, like, there was not a lot of glass blowers up here. So, like, I came here at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Killed it when I first got here.
Cool, man.
Our shop was in the State Theater building.
Really?
Fucking best time of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a heyday, man.
Yeah. You know Justin Hendrickson? You might not. He's not really in the scene anymore. He was like the house manager there.
No. Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I'm new.
He would always
Portland
be like,
through and through, man. Really?
Take the back doors open, dudes. But our studio was in the building, I want to say like 3rd or 4th or 5th floor. It was up there, but it was on the back side. And I don't know if you know where the alley is where they load in.
Yeah.
So like we could see out our back window into the backstage door there.
Wow. So you could see when people were.
We'd see them coming in and out. And then like during the day, they'd just have the doors open and sound checking. So like we'd be blowing glass and Bobby and Rat Dog would be like sound checking or whoever, like all kinds of bands.
Yeah. I've done a couple load-ins there.
Yeah.
I broke down STS9 there.
Oh, sick. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was some of the last, like when I was kind of like phasing out of jam bands, like that was.
They hit. Yeah.
That was kind of the last.
Starting,
yeah. They changed a lot, their sound.
My favorite band really is this band called Dopapod. And they actually came out of Alston. They were Berkeley band.
Nice.
And they kind of took over that sound. You know, the guitarist and the bassist are big Phish guys. And then the keyboardist and the drummer are like big into prog. And so they kind of took that like
that's an interesting combo.
Yeah, they kind of took that like sound, and it made it like funky, housey, but like breakdowns. Like
Loved it. Then. Yeah, it was fresh.
It was fresh.
Yeah.
Back
then.
This was
like all noodly, like hippie, like happy shit.
Yep.
Like it was kind of mixing that like club vibe in there. And
yes. The late night set vibe. Because Camp Bisco must have been the biggest thing happening around then.
That was definitely in full steam. Like Gorilla Biscuits took off.
Yeah, the Gorilla Biscuits.
Oh no, Disco Biscuits.
Yeah. But that must have been the biggest thing happening. So the whole scene was informed by that fucking weekend.
Yeah, I mean, everybody went. I never really got too much into Bisco, but.
Me neither. And
everybody got too fucked up for me.
Yeah. All right. We circle back to that.
Into drugs and the Disco Biscuits.
See, I definitely, I like got out of punk and got into drugs.
Yeah.
But it got into it through, like the indie rock party scene in Alston,
That's
and
cool,
it was
though.
like, yeah. So it was like,
respect to Austin.
it was like it went hand in hand, and then I was one of those guys that, you know, the party just didn't end, and now I'm sober. So
Too, man.
yeah,
You know, I'll
yeah,
smoke reefer, but I haven't had a drink in a long time.
really,
Yeah.
yeah. I can't touch any of it.
Yeah.
I'm allergic.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I don't know if I'm allergic, but I feel a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was just the party scene, man. It
started getting dictated by the partying.
Well, and then K
It wasn't
hit.
about dude, K,
Yeah.
Molly. Actually, you know what was starting to fire off was the oxys were just really starting.
I grew up into that, dude.
Yeah.
I grew.
Kids like were fucking pillheads.
I mean, literally like half the kids I grew up with are, you know, no longer with us. You know, I've had so many. Yeah.
Or like, I don't know if they're in jail or dead.
Yeah. Yeah. It you know, just grew up into that opioid epidemic.
Never got into it.
Really?
I saw it from afar. It's like, that's not for me.
Yeah. You could see,
like
it
being out of
sounds like
control
you
like that.
saw it young.
Yeah.
That you were just like,
I kind of already had been through kind of a partying phase where it never really got that bad, but I could see like I was already kind of done with it. I didn't need to.
You can see the people on the other side of that.
Yeah.
Which isn't the place to be for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, but you're in your heyday up here in Portland, and you must have still been running into people you knew from the road.
Yeah, because that was still like I was still feeding off that. I would still go see stuff local. I'd still bring the cases out. I'd still go to like any amphitheater within 150 miles to work.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, so you were bringing cases around, working a lot.
Yeah, because there weren't a lot of shops.
Okay.
So working a lot, like, got a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy does rap. My same buddy Murph, he does rap, and he'll bring a few stuff around. He's kind of enough people know him where he'll bring custom pieces around now, but
it's a lot less sketchy.
Yeah.
To
to be making
metal
jewelry.
wraps.
Yeah.
Those are really nice.
Yeah. He's talented at it too. He's good.
Yeah.
He's real good. He's my partner in this.
So I call her the girl, the girl that I moved here with.
Yes.
She went to Mecca for metalsmithing. So
really?
she would make wraps.
Okay.
And I would make like glass pieces, like beads and shit for her to wrap. With the gemmy shit too.
Cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's real cool.
I did that too. Yeah.
So did you guys and you must have had your son around this time.
Yeah, so we got married. We were together about 5 years before we got married. My son was born in 2007.
Okay.
So we probably got married in 2006.
Life was good then? You guys were happy?
Dude, we bought like the last house on the peninsula under $200,000 and
Are you guys still together?
No.
Okay. Yeah, but you were happy then.
I was moderately happy.
Okay. As happy as an ex-tour
I was doing
guy
good.
Yeah.
I looked like I should be happy, I think.
Okay.
I should have been happy.
What wasn't making you happy?
I think
what wasn't doing it?
The more I was living the American dream, the more I didn't want to. I think I was like,
what you fought against your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I had the little 2-bedroom house with white picket fence and the baby in the basket. And
I get that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
And what I think really was the beginning of it was when we found out we were going to have my son. I got the job in event management with the city of Portland.
That stability really
I did that. Literally, I did that.
Started to shake
so
you.
I could get the health benefits and have a child. And
so life started to look real, really real.
It was real. Yep.
Yeah.
It was no longer,
yeah,
one big party.
Yeah. I mean,
started phasing out the glass blowing was going away.
Really?
We left the State Theater building. They didn't want us to have the gases in there, which I get it. We pushed it for as long as we could.
Did you have to hide it for a little while? Yeah.
Yeah. But back then it was cool.
Okay. Yeah, I know my friend, she does it out of like her buddy's like shed or something. His
there's
garage.
a lot of. So one of the dudes actually that I got started blowing glass, like he bought like my original gear, when I upgraded.
Yeah.
I got him into it. One of my old friends from tour, his name's Brian, but he goes by KGB.
Okay, yeah.
And
it's familiar. I am aware of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's done pretty well for himself, and he's stuck with it.
Yeah.
So he started blowing glass, a few years after I did.
Okay.
I kind of got him started, showed him how to do it. Then
I was into glass for a while.
Yeah,
I was into it like when I came up. It was like the roar stuff, and like that. I got all really scientific.
Yeah.
And then I always liked. My first tattoo was of my first bowl.
Oh, that's cool.
In like
really,
like,
so yeah, you were into it.
I loved glass, you know, and I loved weed, and I started smoking weed 14 and smoked daily until I was 26. You know, and it's like what got me off was the Xanax. I got hooked on Xanax, and the weed started to freak me out. But
yeah,
but
farmies are just.
I loved glass, and some of my friends really were able to invest in that, multi-$1,000 art glass scene. Like I have some good friends with some cases, man.
I liked those people for sure. I liked when 3 people would show up, and next thing you know, I've got like $2,000 worth of orders on the table. Tickets.
All right, so your buddy KJB.
KGB, yeah, he does the donuts.
Yes. Okay, that's where I know him from.
And he's still rocking it, man. He's like the
those
Portland
donuts
glass
are
bar.
everywhere.
Yeah. He's done really well, and it's like, it's not so much his amazing skills. It's like him and his persona and like his cool niche that he made with the donuts and the packaging and the brand.
It's like that guy Sherbert with the pencils.
Yeah. He branded it.
Yeah.
And now he's known.
His donuts are hot, man.
Dude, he's like he's up there, like in the upper echelon of glass blowing personalities.
You ever run into Waldo Wonders?
No.
Okay.
I might have.
He's a good friend of mine.
Is he?
Yeah, he's out west now though. He's from Montana. But I met him around here. He opened a shop in Boston called Green Side Up.
No.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah. No, I don't know him.
He reps glass blowers, and he carries people's. He's a dealer.
Yeah.
So he carries people's stuff.
That was just starting up, like people actually being like reps.
Yeah.
Sales reps.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't even a thing because it was so underground, and everybody was afraid.
Yeah.
It was like it was pretty.
You sold your own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
It's
and
a
there
big
was
business
not
now.
a lot of. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And I actually still like.
Do you still blow?
So I was working for Brian before COVID hit. Like, yeah, I worked through the holidays last year, and
Are you just doing his prep or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't bad though.
It's a good job.
It was cool. That's where
he's making money. He's got his
making
thing.
enough to pay me, and it was like cool. I'd just come in, spend a few hours, a couple of bucks in my pocket.
It's a couple decades under your belt.
Yeah, he tells the story of how we started glass blowing, like in the paper, like he gets interviewed and stuff. And it's like the story he's telling is like me and him.
Really?
Yeah.
Dope, dude.
Yeah. So I got him off the ground, and like I don't want to take all the credit, but
no, you guys were friends. You guys were doing it together,
and we were friends before glass blowers, like either of us.
Really?
From tour. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was from Syracuse.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I don't even know how I met him.
Made my day. I love that story.
He knew some people that were from Portland.
Okay.
From tour.
Yeah.
And so we just met somewhere.
Okay.
New York, I want to say maybe.
Tour.
Tour. That's the big blur.
Yeah.
Who knows? Some show, some parking lot.
Sure.
And we ended up crashing at his place in the Cuse.
The Cuse.
Yeah. You always call it the Cuse. The Cuse is loose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There's
cool,
a lot of shows happening along Route 90 there. Upstate New York.
Yep.
So like having kids in Syracuse was cool because like you're way the frig on the other side of the state. So if, like, you could hang out over there.
Some friends. Do you ever like? I when I got into the scene, it was less about tour, or it was still about tour. But
festivals, right?
What I got into was the festivals.
Yeah.
And the small festivals, the 2,000 person stuff. Mm-hmm. And my friends, how I got into jam music was because my friends at college threw a festival called Camp Coldbrook in Western Mass, in Barry, Mass. And literally my first work, I was in class with them, and I was like, hey, I hear you're doing this thing. I'd like to tag along if you could use a hand. And then I ended up working all 3 they did and becoming really good friends. My partner in this now, Murph, the jeweler, he was part of that crew, And
is that how you got started in this whole production stuff?
Pretty much. I mean, I went to school for it, and then kind of fell headfirst into jam.
I actually meant to ask you, was your high school did you do anything in high school?
I was a musician.
Okay. But it wasn't through your school, like you were just
No,
a
I was
musician.
just I was a musician through school, and I played the upright bass in orchestra, and then I played punk bass at home, you know,
cool.
and like played in punk bands, and then brought my blue hair and put on a suit and played in the orchestra too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I was looking at like ULOL for performance. I was kind of getting ready for a Berkeley audition. I kind of had a connection to at Berkeley. I was going to try to swing, and then I got a little too high and a little too lazy and didn't practice enough, and and took a sidestep into engineering, and just and majored in party.
Well said.
Yeah. Now I throw parties, it's like now I learned how to throw a party, really, and I'm fucking good at it. I like to throw a party. And that's what it's what I do for a living now is I throw a party, and I fucking love parties, man. I'm really good at it.
Where's a sick house?
It's fun.
Yeah.
And we got to build it too, basically, like we got given
place used to.
We were peeling the plastic off shit.
I remember
there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen what it looked like before?
I was in there once. I was in there. I saw.
They had all kinds of shows there still, but it was like
yeah,
the ceiling was so low, and
yeah, I remember it was like you walked in the same door, but you went like down a couple steps, and then there was the two bars, and the stage was
that part
straight
still
ahead.
kind of looks a little bit familiar, like when you first walk in.
Well, that's
that beautiful
that's
bar
all
wasn't there.
old building.
Yeah,
up that pre-function area is all old building still. Yeah, and the restaurant's all the same. Facelift.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, not still the same kind of
everything past
polished.
there, I think, got torn down and built back up.
Yeah, and I just can't believe like
it's pretty in there, man. It's nice. Yeah.
Tore that ceiling off. That was like the best thing that place could have done. What I remember about what did it used to be called?
Oh, it was the Asylum.
The Asylum.
It's still the same owners.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's cool. But it was just the low ceiling and like the sound was never good. But like they had like so many.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was bad. I went to one show there. It was like some throwback pop punk thing. I forget who now. I couldn't hang, man, because it was a 18+ show, so they had to keep the alcohol to the back, so they were mixing for the back of the room.
I remember that how they would separate the room.
They were, and we still do sometimes, but they were mixing for the back of the room, so it was just loud. But I think it's a really beautiful sounding room now.
Oh gosh, it's probably. I mean, I know that.
Yeah, we don't have to say anything too big, but but it's a nice sounding room now.
Dude,
it's got top of the line gear in it, and the guys who make
I think now it's
the guys who make the top of the line gear came and tuned the room, and it's a professional outfit there now. And so I fell face first into festivals. But that was always kind of, I never made my living doing that. I made my living doing corporate AV in hotels. And so right out of college, in college, I didn't even work. I did special events for City of Boston, and then I did special events for the state of Massachusetts. It was all part-time, just, build up. And then, and I partied, and I built a recording studio. There's another bottle down here. And I built my recording studio in my apartment, and I kind of moved that studio around a couple different places and lived. I always had multiple roommates, and we always recorded each other. But I got out of college, and I panicked, so I just went straight to my fallback, which was corporate AV, and so I started working for PSAV, which is like in hotel, where they're like contracted into hotels, and so I would show.
So like hotel chains go to that company,
and my office was in the hotel.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I reported to like a Hyatt every day in a suit and tie, and set up ballrooms with speakers and sticks and projectors.
Glad you didn't kill yourself.
Yeah, I did that. I did that for like 6 years, and so now
that's a gig, man. Dude,
I
take that job.
I tuned my ear. I can call frequencies. I can mix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know how to ring a room.
Because that stuff has to be clean, man. You know,
Yeah.
That's the corporate thing. It's always crispy and white. And
yeah, and I got to the point where I was kind of I was a sought after audio guy there. Like, because I could tune the room and I could get things done quick and I could tear fast. I could tear and flip rooms really quick. And so, and because I never got rid of my beard. And so, so some of the hotels, some of like the Four Seasons stuff and some of the really high end stuff, they could only have me in their hotel like after hours for the after hours flips.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because you had a beard?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In Boston. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. In San Diego, I went and lived in San Diego with my buddy right out of college, and that's where I got hired with the company. It was really, I got hired by Swank, which was like the number 2 company. I feel weird talking about myself, but we're catching up here. And so I got hired by Swank in San Diego, and we had to be clean shaven because we had to be ready to go to report to any hotel.
The name is Swank.
Well, they got started as a movie distribution company, and then bought into AV, and then were the number 2 AV company worldwide. But their niche was the high end stuff, so they weren't quite big enough to where the standards were lowered, and like PSAV was so big, such a massive worldwide company that their standard, when you get big, the bigger you get, the lower your standards end up being. Mm-hmm. And they were still, every single new hire that Swank brought on, they would send to their headquarters in St. Louis and go through a week training. And so like I went through like their like high end, week training of corporate AV, learn how to like, you put your hands on almost every piece of gear they owned. You learn how to set up screens. And so it was like this intensive training after college, And so,
More specialized.
So,
it's a specialized world.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, PSAV ended up buying Swank like a month after I got hired. And so like the first couple years, but for the whole time I was there was like this transition into each other. But I always worked at Swank Properties because I had the Swank training. And it was just, I never wanted to be in corporate, but it got me ready for, this hybrid club, where like, we do a lot of rental events and it is a higher end, more professional, venue in town, but we can also, take the collars off and run around with radios and throw a rock show in there.
I went through a phase, and I'm jumping ahead, but
yeah, we're just kind of shooting the shit now. Yeah. If anybody's still listening, I'm sorry.
I got divorced.
Oh yeah.
But kind of like when I was going through this like midlife crisis thing, I was going to like shows every day. This was like in 2016.
Okay.
Every show in Portland, getting like free tickets.
Really?
I'd like hang out front and wait for the show to start or something, and people are running in and going back to my old tour mentality, survival instincts, and I'd get into all these shows.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Wow.
For like $20. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so
I'd let a guy like you in.
Thanks.
If I'm walking around checking the perimeter, you got your finger up outside, I'd be like, he's with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool because back to the whole like working for the city. I managed Merrill for a long time, and I was cool about.
So Merrill was a city-owned venue.
Yeah.
Is it still a city-owned venue?
I would imagine it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I've only been there a few times. I worked for a company called Headlight AV, and
I could see you working for them.
Yeah. When I got here, I worked for them for 2.5 years when I first got here. Good people over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I learned cameras there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really didn't get my hands on many cameras until I got there.
They were always in there.
Yeah,
if we needed like a projector or a smaller.
That's what I mean. We'd get in there and we'd set up projectors, and I got really good at dialing in a projector. Mm-hmm. You do it for 6 years. You do it every day for 6 years. You get good at it.
Yeah.
And
cool. Cool.
I got really good at dialing in a projector, and yeah, we'd go in there. We'd set up the biggest screens we have, the 11 by 14s, and yeah. Yeah.
So I started there. I just got the job because I needed the.
I think I might actually seen you there.
Really?
Yeah. If it was back, were you working there then?
I worked there until like 2016.
Okay. So maybe the first year there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the house manager.
What made you feel like you wanted more?
Well, so I just had enough working for the city. I worked there for too long.
Okay.
I kept chasing the money and like trying to move up that scale, climb that ladder. And I was just pushing around emails and playing defense for the city. I was always like in that position where I was catching it from both sides. I fell into that role. Yeah. That was kind of like the office I was working in.
Especially for Merrill, especially for, the kind of shows they do there where, where they're bringing plays through and then they're bringing a concert and then they're working with Waterfront and then you're doing this.
Yeah, we do all that Waterfront stuff.
And it's a lot of liaison. It's a lot of paperwork.
It was a lot of trying to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it anymore. Things, my home life was,
especially coming from, a skater punk Phish kid running around the streets.
Working for the government now? It's like, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I probably would have been more happy if I just stuck to pushing around chain motors and maybe I would have gotten more into lighting, like, which is kind of like what I was wanting to do.
Your knees would not be great, but maybe it'd just be less stressful, really.
Yeah. So, basically I had to leave that job. I took a leave of absence. I just kind of never went back.
Overstressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just catching it from all angles.
Yeah. And I had my daughter right around that time. And
with the same girl?
Yeah.
Were you, all right.
Yeah.
Now, did you stay married up until your daughter was born? And
yeah. She was about like 3 or 4 when we got divorced. But soon after I left the city, I got divorced.
It must have been, when you don't like your job like that and you're stressed.
I took off for a little bit. I did almost like half of the Appalachian Trail.
Really?
Yeah. I was gone for a while.
Wow.
Yep.
It is, dude, honestly, event production is a stressful job.
The hours.
People don't realize it.
Yeah. So you can relate to that for sure. You've been, I relate to you, man. I see you guys up there. Like, I know you.
I keep it stress-free,
And I see people like that.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they do it.
I don't know either.
I think maybe if I wasn't tied into the city and like getting
it's a little bit of sociopathy.
Dude, yeah, you guys.
Really?
I just never had the confidence. Like, I always felt like I wasn't doing something right because like.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're always doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You're always doing something wrong, no matter how right it gets. There's always something wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's not your fault.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna be unhappy.
Somebody all the time.
Everything would come back to bite me in the ass.
All you can do is try to make the people that sign your checks happy.
Yeah.
That's all. That honestly, that's what keeps me level-headed.
I was a pretty good employee.
Yeah.
I was really good employee. Like, I kicked ass. So like that's just kind of how I.
It seems like you liked it enough.
I love being around the arts.
You took it seriously.
Yeah.
But that's what got you into film.
So yeah, I kind of like wandered for a minute, but not too long. I got a job making tents and backpacks down at Hyperlight Mountain Gear.
I'm jealous of your life, man.
Yeah.
Really.
So
I grew up in the wrong time and I, where I'm so forced to be straight laced and I'm just 30 now.
I don't see you like that.
Well,
look at you. Dude.
You got to play. You got to play the game a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
You're doing all right. I don't.
I don't know. I also just fall forward into. I just keep falling forward.
Yeah, I like that falling forward.
Yeah, when you get caught on your heels, man.
Yeah,
that's when the world can fall on top of you.
Yeah. So, getting divorced was actually pretty good.
Was it?
I am being myself again, and I'm so much more happy. I was not being myself. I mean, look at me.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I avoided it. I avoided it a couple times.
Yeah.
And I avoided it when I just started Aura. I was in a relationship that I woke up and it was going that way.
Yeah.
Like it was like I was looking at rings seriously, it's like I was going that way. And then I got the job at Aura and I was like, oh, I'm heading in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I just woke up and I was like, yeah, this is over though.
See, that might be like how you keep it so like even and balanced.
I don't have kids.
living that event lifestyle
Yeah.
and then having a family too
I went
is
full
super
in.
hard, man.
Yeah.
Those guys that seem to have it all together are the ones that go full in and don't have. And I know a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I went full.
the lifers. It's just they love what they do.
I
And
fucking love it, dude.
don't need
Yeah.
the family part of it. You know,
It gets
in their
lonely.
life. I can't imagine not having like my kids. Like I can't. I'd be so lost without them.
Really?
Yeah.
See, you know, if I had, you know, I feel like if I had kids when you did, I probably wouldn't be telling my problems to rooms full of strangers. That's for damn sure. You know
Well,
what I
I
mean?
am.
Yeah.
I didn't have them too young. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I don't know.
It was the right time. Everything was right. I did everything
All
right.
right.
But I wasn't happy like early on, and I lived through it for like a decade, and then finally like
snowballed.
crashed and burned.
That button up, you know, you
Yeah.
felt just
I
chained
did,
in.
man. I was wearing suits and met Barack Obama though.
That's cool.
Yeah, he came to the expo. That was kind of like the highlight of my
Yeah,
career there.
that was a big one.
Yeah, he came to the expo during the midterm election.
Cool.
Yeah, I got to like, say hi to him, got my picture taken with him and stuff. And
Great.
yeah,
That
was
is really cool.
2014.
You help manage the event with his team when he came through?
Yeah, so I was like the lead for the city and kind of worked with his like White House events.
Did you have to
people.
get the special like security to
Oh.
work for the city?
Dude? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had to have a few things.
Okay.
Um,
That's interesting. I never went. I never
Like
was
TSA,
offered.
and
I was
then,
never offered it. You know.
we had to have like transportation worker stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
because like we're working on the waterfront. And
Okay.
so I definitely had gone through a bunch of background checks.
Yeah.
I was
I can pass
surprised.
them. I've never been offered.
Yeah.
Them. Yeah.
So I had some pretty cool IDs though.
Yeah.
From that, yeah.
The biggest guy I met was Jay Leno.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He was the performer for this tech conference we ran out in Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah, Headlight AV, had the contract to run this national tech conference in Phoenix.
And like that,
And
they're just based out of Portland, though, right? They're not.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we like hired local there and had a bunch of stuff.
I know like
shipped in.
high outputs like here, but they're
High Output South Shore. I worked for them
Yeah.
too down in
Yeah.
Boston. I went for their warehouse gig, but they just weren't paying enough. They were I don't want to talk about it, but that was years ago too. That was right before I moved up here. I was like, either this is gonna work out or I'm gonna leave Boston, and so I just left Boston. But
I like it up here. Like Boston's hectic. I go back down there a lot.
yeah,
But it's chill up here.
I fucking love it here.
Yeah.
I love it. I got here right at the right time to where like I kind of found my way, and I just followed my instincts here too.
Well,
And I was with that girl though. That girl
Yeah.
really helped me. I haven't said it at all really, and I feel bad about it as I'm going through editing these things. That girl I was with helped me change my life. She helped me change my life for the better. She helped me move up here. She, I was in a blind haze. And she really kind of led me in the right direction. And then it was like, oh, all right, it's time for me to move on.
Mhm.
And that's just me though, And
She's still up here.
yeah, she's up here. Her and a mutual friend who she's with now, they just got into their own house, and I'm really happy for them actually.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Nice.
because that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I thought it was for a minute.
I did. I never would have thought I would have had the family life that I have now. Like growing up, I never thought I'd be that guy.
Yeah, but you love it.
Well, I love my kids.
Yeah.
I didn't really love the platonic family thing.
How's the relationship with the ex?
Fine.
Yeah.
She feels real bad, I think. So I kind of got.
What?
Oh, dude, she was.
Where's that come from?
Yeah, she was not. Our divorce was pretty bad, and I mean,
did she get mean?
Yeah. She walked all over me at the end there, but like now I think she's kind of she realizes that.
Was she hurt?
She didn't seem too hurt at the time.
Really?
No.
Okay.
She was doing. She met some other guy, so she was pretty.
Oh.
She was all about him. So,
Oh.
yeah.
That's how it went?
Yeah.
Because I was getting the picture of you hated your job, became detached, and just kind of drifted from the relationship.
Okay. So
Well,
that's totally true.
Yeah.
And she probably was unhappy, but when she found this other dude to be with and divorced me, she was pretty happy. You know?
Fair.
Yeah.
Rub it in your face.
Yeah. I think she felt like, she's like, look at me. I can, I don't need you.
But you guys are good now.
Yeah. Good enough. Like,
Good enough for the kids.
yeah. And I wouldn't want to have that any other way. Like, I have 50-50. I wouldn't sell for any less than that. And
Good.
yeah. So.
Do you have your own house now
Yeah.
for the kids? Yeah.
Yeah. I live in Cumberland. I've got my own house.
Cool. You have
Apple
a girl?
orchard there. I did until like about 1 o'clock last night.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I can fill your plate.
Hey, man. Seriously, dude.
Come to the dark side.
Yeah.
Where the blue drape is popping.
Yeah. I'll hang on this room, and all the girls will want me. They'll see me on your podcast.
Oh, you look good. I think you look good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Not too bad for 43.
No, man. I would have never guessed it.
Yeah.
Would have never guessed it.
Yeah. My girlfriend was not 43.
I'm sure she'll come back around.
Well, she did come back around, and then yeah.
Well, best of luck with that, man. I've had a really good time talking with you. This was a loose episode.
That's all right. I don't even know. Like,
we just met, and I wanted you. We met under circumstances where I wanted to show you what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And this is how to do that. And so thanks for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
It's cool. I kind of knew what you had going on, but I knew what was up, but I'm still impressed when I got here.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. I threw together what I could, with that Stimmy money, Stimmy Studio.
Yeah. You said that the other day. That was funny.